Penguins of Madagascar is an animated television series that originally aired from 2008 to 2015. The show is a spin-off of the successful DreamWorks animation film franchise Madagascar, which follows the adventures of a group of zoo animals who escape from their home in the Central Park Zoo and find themselves in the wilds of Madagascar. This video will cover the entire series from beginning to end. So without further ado, let's begin. Before we begin, let's set some context. The show takes place in Central Park Zoo, where King Julian, a ring-tailed lemur, rules the roost. His loyal advisor, Maurice, always supports Julian, even when he's taken advantage of. The zoo is filled with various characters like the zookeeper Alice, Marlene, and the sewer rats. The penguins consist of Skipper, Kowalski, Rico, and Private. Skipper is the team leader with a tough and no-nonsense attitude. Kowalski is the intelligent strategist and a brilliant inventor. Rico is the team's weapons expert who has a habit of regurgitating useful items. And Private is the youngest and most innocent member of the group who sees the good side of people. The zoo is divided into habitats for different animals, and the show primarily follows the adventurous escapades of our penguin protagonists. The dynamic among the characters creates a humorous and entertaining storyline, making it a delightful show to watch.
Cute and cuddly, boys!
Amid King Julian claiming his royal advisor Maurice's belongings, the lemurs find a tourist's camera, leading to a struggle that leaves both Maurice and Julian blinded after a photo mishap. Julian, convinced that Maurice has been imprisoned within the camera by the sky spirits for questioning his authority, banishes Maurice. Concerned, Skipper investigates and discovers Maurice in a New Jersey dump. The penguins bring him back, but Julian attempts to free Maurice by smashing the camera, accidentally hitting Mort with a boulder instead. When Maurice is catapulted over the wall by the penguins and unintentionally takes a photo of Julian, the lemur believes he was released by the sky spirits, leaving Mort forgotten under the boulder. Frustrated with King Julian's antics, the penguins decide to escape to the moon with their rocket, Penguin 1. However, they only reach the top of a building, encountering Max the cat. Max, desperate to catch flightless birds, mistakes the penguins for his wish come true. After comical failed attempts to catch Private, Max invites them into his home. The penguins, thinking of Julian's neighbor policy, befriend Max. Leaving the supposed moon, they crash back at the zoo. Max waves them from a helicopter, and the penguins realize they were never on the moon to begin with.
Operation Hammerhead.
Excuse me, hammer whose head exactly?
No.
One day, Marlene believes her habitat is haunted, prompting the penguins and lemurs to camp out to uncover the ghostly culprit. Awoken by Marlene's snores,
Marlene!
they discover a moaning sound from the sewers. Skipper and Marlene fall into the sewer and encounter Roger, an alligator terrified of Marlene's snoring. The penguins befriend Roger, ending the ghostly charade in Marlene's habitat.
What's the matter with the guy in the funny hat?
I wish I knew, Roger.
What? Is that? Are you? But how are all these Mort?
King Julian's jealousy of popular Mort dolls leads him to dump the remaining dolls into the skunk habitat. Complaints arise, forcing zookeeper Alice to return the dolls to the toy factory. Mort accidentally joins the shipment, prompting the penguins to mail themselves to the factory to save him. Believing they're under attack, they discover King Julian, who hampers their mission. However, when the penguins face peril on a conveyor belt, King Julian's rescue effort earns their gratitude. In the end, a seemingly real Private emerges from the box, only to reveal he was replaced by a Private doll, leaving the actual Private behind at the factory.
Guess what I found in my habitat today?
It's an egg?
Marlene discovers what seems to be an abandoned egg in her habitat and asks the penguins to care for it. Skipper hesitates, deeming incubation not masculine, but the other penguins are eager. King Julian claims it as his heir, and Skipper reluctantly agrees to care for it. The penguins put the egg through rigorous training, but Private treats it gently during his shift. Eventually, the egg hatches into a duckling, and Marlene reunites it with its mother. Despite their attachment, the penguins bid farewell, with Private expressing the most emotion. Sometime later, the duckling Eggy is shown to mimic Skipper's line.
Cute and cuddly, boys. Cute and cuddly.
Skipper and Private engage in a game of capture the flag against Kowalski and Rico. King Julian wants to join, but is rejected by Skipper. Julian mocks them, and they agree to a match with high stakes, Mort against the Penguins TV. The Penguins keep demanding rematches and lose everything. Realizing the lemurs use the trees to their advantage, Skipper introduces jetpacks to even the playing field. The Penguins' jetpacks are makeshift, and they dive-bomb the lemurs, securing victory. The lemurs lose their kingdom, and the Penguins celebrate in Julian's bounce house. Skipper wears Julian's crown, leaving Mort with a fish and a sigh. The zoo introduces fun days on Mondays.
Few humans visit on Mondays, thus our zoo overlords renamed Monday Fun Day.
Prompting Marlene to challenge Skipper's ability to have fun. In an attempt to prove himself, Skipper accidentally deflates King Julian's royal bouncy, sending Julian's crown into the sewer. Julian's ceaseless screams distress the zoo, leading Marlene to craft replacement crowns.
I gotcha! Or not.
Meanwhile, the penguins face a rat king, adorned with Julian's crown. After a fierce battle, Skipper retrieves the crown, only for Julian to discover a smudge, demanding his spare crown. Frustrated by the futile efforts, Marlene comically pursues Julian with a crowbar.
Bravissimo, Private.
Skipper trains the penguins to fight blindfolded, challenging Kowalski's analytical nature. Meanwhile, Marlene welcomes new neighbors, but mysterious footprints and tentacles in their habitat cause chaos. Mort identifies the footprints but is captured. The creatures capture others until only Kowalski remains. Trusting instincts, Kowalski fights blindfolded and discovers the creatures are chameleons extending a friendly invitation.
It's complicated.
No, it's worse.
The penguins spot a suspiciously human-shaped package pushed by Alice in the zoo and investigate, revealing a talking robot guide designed to replace human tour guides. King Julian instantly adores it, but Skipper fears a future with robotic exhibits. Rico regurgitates various weapons, and the team decides on a time bomb to counter the robot. In a panic, Rico swallows the active bomb and attempts to induce vomiting fail. Emotional goodbyes ensue until Rico, moved by the sentiment, vomits, saving himself and destroying the robot guide.
Little Ranger.
Do not feed the animals!
Zookeeper Alice, alarmed by visitors feeding the animals, enforces a strict diet and posts "Don't feed the animals" signs. Marlene, unable to resist popcorn, calls a town meeting. Skipper and King Julian vow to retrieve popcorn for everyone. The penguins discover a storage shed, but when a bag lands on Mort, Julian claims it. Returning with popcorn kernels, they find it inedible. Julian thinks they're eggs and attempts to hatch them. To avoid Alice, the penguins hide the popcorn in a furnace, leading to a popcorn explosion. Despite initially enjoying the treat, the abundance leaves the animals sick of popcorn.
You know, men, I'm actually pretty darn sick of popcorn.
Now, Skipper?
Not yet, Private. You gotta play hard to get. Make 'em beg for
The penguins resort to adorable hijinks to manipulate zoo guests into feeding them fish. However, they discover that their real fish have been replaced with dry, fish-shaped crackers. Unable to stomach the taste, Skipper, Rico, and even Private struggle to eat them. King Julian is pleased with the lack of fish smell during feeding time. In a quest for real fish, the penguins, aided by Pinky the flamingo, plan a heist on a delivery truck. Skipper and Julian plan to take the fish for themselves, only to find out Pinky outsmarted them both.
Sucker!
Tell you what, how about we take you on in hockey?
You win, we leave.
We win, you leave.
The sewer rats challenge the penguins to a hockey game, with the condition that the losers must vacate the ice. After losing the first match, the penguins practice in the lemur's habitat, but the lemur's poor skills lead them to become cheerleaders instead. The penguins challenge the rats again, and this time, they start winning. However, the rats resort to dirty tactics, injuring the penguins to force a forfeit. Private gets injured first, replaced by Maurice, and Kowalski is next, replaced by Mort. Skipper is slammed into a wall, leaving Julian as the last substitute. With only Rico unharmed, Julian's fury and a barrage of pucks lead to the rats forfeiting the game. What goes around truly comes around.
We're under attack.
Skipper initiates a reaction time exercise for the penguins, simulating a tennis ball machine uprising, but their training is abruptly halted when Alice takes them to the animal care building for shots. Skipper, terrified of needles, attempts a daring escape, knocking out the doctor in the process. The zoo goes on lockdown as the staff searches for the missing penguin. Skipper, convinced the zookeepers are onto their operation, leads the others on a wild chase through various habitats. To prevent detection, Private suggests faking Skipper's presence by wearing his ankle tag for a second shot. Skipper learns it's risky for Private and decides to face his fear, getting the needed shot.
Visit to the dentist!
The dentist!
We don't have teeth. Any clips? The sky spirits, you say?
The chimpanzees scheme to teach King Julian a lesson, using the upcoming solar eclipse as leverage. They convince Julian that the eclipse is a message from angry sky spirits due to his selfish behavior. Julian is coerced into seeking guidance from Private, the nicest guy in the zoo. Private advises him to perform genuine acts of kindness. Julian, overzealous in his efforts, irritates Skipper. Skipper, seeing Julian's distress, tries to expose the chimpanzee's manipulation. Kowalski creates a weather machine to simulate a message, but Julian misses it, caught up in his self-imposed penance. Believing a rainbow signals his redemption, Julian reverts to his whimsical ways, unaware of the orchestrated celestial messages.
Mission accomplished, man.
Guess who's getting a new roommate? That's right. It's me.
Kowalski is uncertain of his invention's purpose and faces paranoia when Marlene gets a new annoying roommate, Rhonda. Suspecting Rhonda might be a spy after Kowalski's invention, the penguins prepare to ship her to a polar bear reserve. Private discovers the destination, prompting Marlene to reconsider. At the dock, Kowalski unveils his invention as an energy-cutting blade to free Rhonda, but the crate is unknowingly seized by Alice. However, Rhonda, the seemingly annoying walrus, turns out to be a spy sent by Dr. Blowhole. She successfully swipes Kowalski's invention, leaving the penguins in a precarious situation.
I got $1.17.
The zoo orders Chinese food paid for with fountain quarters. Rico's fortune cookie predicts a foul end, misinterpreted as foul. Julian exploits this by causing mishaps, making Rico believe a curse is real. The penguins investigate and expose Julian's prank. Unconvinced, Rico remains in a pillow fortress. A fake curse-breaking ceremony follows, including comical trials. Rico, thinking he's cured, encounters a duck's foul end, proving the fortune right. Julian revels in being right, concluding the comical misadventure.
Hi, how are you?
The penguins face a problem when Roger seeks their aid against sewer rats looting his home. Realizing Roger's aversion to violence, Skipper opts for a mind swap between Roger and Rico. However, Rico, now in Roger's body, becomes uncontrollably aggressive thanks to a temperature-based quirk. His rampage extends from the sewer to the city. Attempting to restrain him, the penguins struggle. Roger, stuck in Rico's body, contributes by singing Rico to sleep.
Lullaby.
With Rico temporarily subdued, the penguins restore their original minds, bringing everything back to normal, albeit with a lesson learned about the unpredictability of Rico's violent tendencies. When the penguins take Marlene and King Julian to the park for snow cones, Marlene, experiencing the outside world for the first time, goes wild, attacking the penguins and kidnapping Julian. Believing Marlene wants to eat him, Julian is relieved when she starts hugging and kissing him. The penguins attempt a rescue, but Marlene escapes to the top of Cleopatra's Needle. Using remote control planes, Skipper rescues them, cages Marlene, and returns her to normal inside the zoo. However, the penguins discover Marlene goes wild beyond a specific point in the park. Julian, hopeful for reciprocated love, is heartbroken when Marlene denies remembering their wild encounter.
Guys, hello? I thought we were getting snow cones. Guys?
When the penguins mistakenly hijack a delivery truck carrying a new female chimpanzee, Lulu, intended for the chimp habitat, Phil falls head over heels in love with her. Seeking Marlene's advice on courting, the penguins attempt to take control of the mission. However, Mason, the chimpanzee, decides to personally talk to Lulu for Phil. In a twist, Lulu assumes Mason is asking her out and agrees. The penguins' attempts to showcase Phil's macho side fail, prompting Kowalski's unconventional love potion plan, which attracts flamingos instead. Turning to King Julian for advice, the penguins attempt a roller disco, and surprisingly, Phil's heartfelt sign language conversation with Lulu ultimately wins her over.
Breezy wind, toasty. Oh, great sky spirit!
In the freezing winter, the penguins thrive in their warm habitat, enjoying tans and volleyball. When a scientist arrives to observe penguins in their natural climate, the penguins disguise their comfort. Private, worried about the cold, sets up dummies to trick the scientist, allowing the team to escape and increase the zoo's heat. Kowalski's plan hits a snag when Alice and the scientist hinder his efforts. The lemurs, guided by Kowalski, attempt to fix the furnace but mistakenly increase pressure. With pressure mounting, King Julian saves the day by flooding the furnace. The scientist departs with newfound knowledge, including the penguins' unique communication methods.
My dolly!
The penguins embark on a mission to retrieve a lost doll for a little girl. Realizing it's in the sewer, they opt for a quicker solution, leaving Rico's identical doll at the girl's doorstep. Rico struggles to part with his doll, but Private assures him that good deeds bring rewards. Rico mistakes a can of sardines as payment, but falls into a trap set by Officer X, the animal control officer. The penguins escape to the sewer, where Officer X pursues them with advanced technology. Rico bravely confronts Officer X, allowing the others to sabotage his van. The doll shoots out of a sewer pipe, hitting Officer X, and he is arrested for vandalism. The penguins celebrate their successful mission.
Hit it!
There's nothing to hit.
My boomy box! Where is it?
King Julian discovers that his boombox is missing, and the zoo animals are outraged when various possessions are stolen. The penguins, victims of the theft themselves, set a trap and catch the masked raccoon thief, the Archer. However, when they learn he's stealing from the zoo animals to help those outside, they change their stance. The penguins rally donations from other animals to help the Archer. Private idolizes him, but later finds out the Archer is a con man. The penguins track him down, and Private, armed with a butterscotch lollipop, confronts him. The Archer is exposed, and the penguins decide to punish him for exploiting their kindness. The penguins are up a tree, skillfully fishing for hot dog cart items. Skipper's attempt goes awry, and he falls, breaking his flipper. Determined to play it cool, he engages in activities, oblivious to the injury. Alice finds him and takes him to the vet. Aware of Skipper's needle fear, the vet uses a muscle relaxant, causing Skipper's clumsy escape attempts. Meanwhile, the penguins, thinking Skipper is critically ill, embark on a misguided rescue mission. Skipper, now resembling a zombie, unintentionally terrifies his comrades. Their efforts to capture him hilariously result in everyone getting injured. Ultimately, Skipper's explanation dispels the zombie notion, revealing their shared misfortune. After Maurice and Mort accidentally break King Julian's throne, he banishes them to a small, inadequate habitat. Julian soon realizes he misses their company, especially when engaging in multiplayer games. Feeling lonely, he turns to the penguins for help. Observing Mort and Maurice throwing a party without inviting him, Julian seeks assistance from the penguins in organizing a grand party. However, the penguins notice that Julian's quest for companionship has led him to insanity. Concerned for Julian's well-being, the penguins show Mort and Maurice the extent of Julian's madness. Maurice, realizing Julian needs a lesson, not torment, decides to return to Julian's side. When a seemingly harmless frog named Barry arrives at the reptile house, Private, thinking he needs company, releases him. However, Barry turns out to be a poison dart frog with a poisonous touch. He quickly establishes dominance over the other zoo animals, causing chaos. The penguins attempt to contain Barry, but he escapes, infecting Kowalski and Skipper. Private, wanting to give Barry a hug, devises a tin robot suit to protect himself. In a surprising turn, Barry, unable to harm Private, becomes more pleasant, enjoying the hug. The episode concludes with the penguins waking up, thinking the encounter with Barry was just a dream. After a DNA test falsely identifies Skipper as the female penguin, he experiences a humorous denial process. In an attempt to embrace his newfound femininity, Skipper disrupts the team's missions with ladylike behavior. Visiting Marlene, he unwittingly aggravates her by insisting on his perceived gender switch. During a mission to rescue the lemurs, Skipper incorporates a pink bow into his heroic efforts. Eventually, a broken fuse in the DNA tester reveals the error, confirming Skipper's true gender. Despite the mix-up, Marlene, initially hopeful for friendship, ends up pushing Skipper away. The penguins humorously reflect on the day's misadventures. Phil, the messy chimpanzee, strains his friendship with the tidy Mason. The conflict escalates during a guerrilla game, leading Mason to declare an end to their friendship, leaving Phil saddened. Seeking refuge, Mason turns to the penguins' habitat, creating chaos with his cleaning obsession. The penguins attempt to reconcile the chimps but face challenges, with Mason planting garbage to clean it later. Meanwhile, Phil's wild party results in a trash disaster. Recognizing their mutual dependence, Mason and Phil reunite, with Mason's cleaning spree restoring order to their habitat. The penguins, addicted to the dumb animal channel, discover a rumor that the zoo is closing permanently. Investigating the matter, Skipper learns that the lack of human visitors will lead to the closure of the zoo. Determined to bring the humans back, the penguins plan to create a promotional commercial. Julian, seizing the directorial role, fails to inspire excitement in the other animals. The penguins gather broadcasting equipment, and as they start airing the commercial, Julian interferes, causing the satellite to explode. However, the worldwide addiction to the dumb animal channel forces visitors to return, saving the zoo from closure. Kowalski, grappling with the inventor's block, creates a gelatinous mass named Jiggles, which rapidly grows in size by consuming fruit. Kowalski becomes increasingly attached to Jiggles, considering it his child, while the other penguins grow concerned about its monstrous growth. Jiggles escapes, leading Kowalski on a quest to protect his creation. As Jiggles engulfs Julian, Kowalski accuses the penguins of being Jiggles' haters and isolates himself with the creature. However, Kowalski eventually realizes the problem and seeks the penguins' help. Together, they shrink Jiggles using a ray, but Kowalski decides to keep the miniaturized creature. In a daring encounter with their archenemy Dr. Blowhole, the penguins confront his monstrous creation, Chrome Claw, using clever tactics involving candies to defeat him. Years later, Dr. Blowhole returns, capturing Julian and revealing a sinister plan to flood the world. The penguins embark on a mission to rescue Julian and thwart Dr. Blowhole's world-threatening scheme. Unexpectedly, Julian appears to have joined forces with the villain. A series of twists, traps, and clashes ensue, with Mort's unpredictable actions aiding the penguins. In a climactic showdown, the penguins strive to prevent the activation of the catastrophic Ring of Fire. Ultimately, Julian surprisingly assists the penguins, leading to Dr. Blowhole's defeat and escape. The season concludes with the zoo animals reflecting on their adventures, while Julian shares an exaggerated version of his own escapades with Marlene, who remains skeptical. While crafting an escape tunnel, the penguins stumble upon Buck Rockgut, a rockhopper claiming to be a hero who's been trapped for 47 years. Idolized by Skipper, Kowalski, and Rico, Rockgut recruits them to capture his nemesis, the red squirrel. Private, unfamiliar with Rockgut, hesitates as the penguins blindly follow the eccentric rockhopper. However, Rockgut accuses everyone, including Private, of collaborating with the red squirrel. Unraveling absurd accusations, Private's wisdom prevails. In a clever maneuver, Skipper orchestrates Rockgut's departure by fabricating a mission. As the penguins slide away, the red squirrel emerges from hiding, relieved that Rockgut's obsessive pursuit has finally ceased. In the quest for time travel, Kowalski invents the chronotron, requiring a rare substance, Megaphium-239. However, Kowalski's future self, Kowalski A, warns Private of the universe's peril if the chronotron activates. Faced with the moral dilemma, Private attempts to destroy the Megaphium, only to discover a spare. As Skipper encounters another future self, Kowalski B, a paradox ensues. Kowalski's present self grapples with conflicting advice from his future self, leading to a chaotic struggle over the Megaphium. In a twist of irony, the chronotron causes a rift, forcing Kowalski to undo his invention. The resolution, involving Rico's intervention and a snow cone machine, leaves the universe intact but buried in icy sweetness, a whimsical outcome in the face of potential catastrophe. In an attempt to find a new home for Roger, the penguins embark on a series of comical escapades. From disguising him as a log to attempting to blend in at the museum, each plan hilariously backfires. Unfortunately, he gets caught by animal control during an unintentional play landing. Determined to rescue their friend, the penguins engage in a wild car chase, eventually catching up with the van. The surprising twist comes when they discover Roger has been taken to the Central Park Zoo. In preparation for the zoo commissioner Purvis McSlade's visit, the penguins become overly paranoid about potential threats, imagining scenarios involving lasers and mind control gas rays. Their focus shifts when they spot a seemingly harmless pigeon, Frankie. Skipper, recalling a past incident with blueberry droppings, becomes determined to prevent a repeat. A comical pursuit ensues, featuring jetpacks and pigeon distractions. Ultimately, Skipper takes the blueberry hit for the commissioner, revealing his pigeon-proof vest and turning the tables on Frankie. Eggy, the duckling that was hatched in the previous season, becomes dangerously reckless due to the penguins' training, prompting Mama Duck to seek their help. Despite trying to reason with Eggy, the penguins resort to a lie about earning a penguin license to curb his danger-seeking behavior. However, Eggy goes on a berserk rampage to prove himself, showcasing traits from each penguin. Eggy proceeds to defeat various zoo animals, but ultimately succumbs to Julian's dance moves. Mama Duck approves of Eggy's new hobby, ensuring his safety. As Eggy leaves imitating Julian, the penguins, embarrassed, deploy a smoke bomb to conceal their involvement. In the special, The Lost Treasure of the Golden Squirrel, a mystical key leads the penguins, lemurs, and Fred on a treasure hunt. The Rat King pursues the key, and the group, guided by a mysterious old lady squirrel, competes against the rats in a quest for the lost treasure of the Golden Squirrel. Each character's desires are revealed in the cursed treasure room, but King Julian surprises everyone by having no desires as he values what he already has. To escape the curse, they must sacrifice the treasure to the rats. In the end, Private receives a unique feather, the feather of the Crystal Falcon, and the group runs away as Skipper eagerly takes on the mission to protect it. The penguins' tranquil day takes a chaotic turn when Marlene visits with organic moisturizers. After she unwittingly applies poison ivy leaves, the penguins find themselves itching uncontrollably. Panicking over the possibility of cooties, they enact elaborate plans to avoid getting touched by Marlene, leading to comedic chaos and mishaps. Meanwhile, the entire zoo falls into paranoia about cooties, with King Julian attempting to escape the supposed threat. Eventually, Marlene and the penguins end up in an oatmeal bath, realizing that the itching was caused by the poison ivy, not cooties. An armadillo known as the Amarillo Kid enters the penguins' habitat seeking Mr. Tux, who turns out to be Private. The Amarillo Kid insists on settling unfinished business related to mini-golf, revealing a past match where Private quit the sport after accidentally ruining a possum girl's ice cream with a ricocheting ball. The penguins support Private as he faces the Amarillo Kid in a rematch, with the armadillo resorting to extreme measures like setting the penguins' HQ to self-destruct. In a dramatic mini-golf showdown, Private's near miss turns into a victory thanks to an unexpected assist from a cricket he had spared earlier. Kindness sure comes a long way. Private undergoes camouflage training, and the penguins accidentally launch him and Marlene into the lemur habitat with the wild otters, leading to a wild adventure. Private is tasked with facing his fear of badgers, and Marlene accompanies him to the badger habitat. To their surprise, the badgers, Becky and Stacy, turn out to be friendly and engage in various activities with Private and Marlene. However, Marlene's temper causes a rift, and the badgers decide to play a scavenger hunt with her. When Marlene loses her patience, Private sets up traps to protect her from the evil badger spirits. The chaos ensues as the penguins try to intervene, leading to a humorous confrontation with the badgers. In the end, Marlene turns wild and defeats the badgers, and they forgive the incident the next day. During a test of the HQ's evacuation system, Private is launched into the koala habitat, where he encounters Leonard, a terrified koala who believes penguins are dangerously psychotic. Private assures Leonard and leaves, only to find him unconscious the next day. Concerned, Private brings Leonard to the penguins' HQ, where they discover koalas are nocturnal. Leonard accidentally gets launched again, landing in Midtown. The penguins embark on a mission to retrieve him. Despite challenges, they return to Leonard just before nightfall. Upon awakening, Leonard fears Marlene, attributing it to her apparent bad reputation, leaving Skipper amused by the misunderstanding. The Hoboken Zoo sends a new animal to the Central Park Zoo, an anaconda named Savio. The penguins become suspicious of Savio's intentions and investigate after hearing about missing lemurs. They discover Savio's carnivorous nature and use Private as bait to lure him out. Savio eventually reveals his true colors and swallows King Julian whole. Inside Savio's stomach, the penguins concoct a plan and, with the help of Bert, manage to force Savio to regurgitate their friends. In the end, Savio is shipped back to the Hoboken Zoo, and the zoo returns to normal. When King Julian wishes on the Gimme Gimme star, he unwittingly summons Cecil and Brick, self-proclaimed criminal geniuses. They've just stolen a valuable diamond necklace that King Julian now possesses. The penguins learn of the theft and attempt to retrieve the necklace. Meanwhile, Cecil and Brick, facing scrutiny from Alice, discover the necklace's location in the lemur habitat. A confrontation ensues, leading to Alice kicking out Cecil and Brick. The penguins secure the necklace, but realize the duo plans a return. A clash in the sewers sends Cecil and Brick to a jewelry store where they get arrested after a cunning move by the penguins, ensuring justice prevails. As Maurice plans a surprise party for King Julian, the penguins mistake it for a revolution against the Lemur King. Fearing a threat, they subject King Julian to intense training. The penguins, King Julian, and Mort confront an apparently hostile habitat, only to discover it's a tiki-themed surprise party. King Julian reminisces about a past birthday and invites the penguins to teach him. Despite the initial confusion, they join the celebration, and Skipper has King Julian do push-ups as repayment.
I had no idea that I was in the presence of you, which is royalty. True!
A new lemur named Clemson arrives at the zoo and becomes King Julian's right-hand man. However, suspicions arise when Mort believes Clemson is evil.
He's evil.
In a competition to determine the right-hand man, Clemson wins, and Maurice gladly welcomes the opportunity to take a break. Later, Mort overhears Clemson plotting to get rid of King Julian, and the penguins, Mort and Maurice, try to warn the king. Despite initial disbelief, King Julian eventually realizes the truth. In the end, the The penguins, with Mort and Maurice's help, manage to thwart Clemson's plan to send King Julian to the Hoboken Zoo.
He was evil.
Kowalski attempts to enhance his intelligence, but ends up becoming extremely dumb.
I like peanuts.
As a result, his lack of intellect compromises the penguins' missions. Meanwhile, Alice receives an automatic feeding machine that only sends one fish to the penguins, leading Rico to eat it himself. Skipper, Private, and Rico must find a cure for Kowalski's condition.
I forgot how to swim!
When Kowalski accidentally causes havoc around the zoo, changing the automatic feeder's settings, he ultimately consumes a massive amount of fish, restoring his intelligence. He reveals that fish is a brain food, resolving the issue and returning Kowalski to his usual intelligent self.
Fish?
You wouldn't last a single day running my squad.
I motion that you admit that you would not last even one single day.
In a souvenir shop meeting, Skipper and Julian engage in a heated argument about each other's abilities. To address the constant bickering, Mason proposes a motion for them to swap roles for a day, hoping it will foster mutual understanding.
Good luck trying to be king. You are going to be needing it.
Luck is for leprechauns, Ringtail.
Consequently, Skipper finds himself as the temporary king of the lemurs, while Julian takes command of the penguins. Both anticipate the other's failure in their new roles, with Skipper relying on his commando skills and Julian ordering the penguins around. Later, when Marlene expresses a craving for cotton candy,
It is. It's cotton candy.
Skipper and Julian lead their respective teams to get some. However, they are forced to collaborate when the cotton candy cart goes out of control. Despite praising each other's efforts, they resume bickering at the next meeting.
You know, maybe there's something to this whole kooky role reversal.
Got a short in Station Zeta.
Station Zeta? That's the sewer rats.
Mudslide. No escape.
The penguins face a surveillance challenge when their equipment monitoring the rat's sewer hideout malfunctions due to vague words from the Rat King. To infiltrate the hideout, they enlist Mort, shaving his tail and disguising him as a rat. However, Mort's cover is blown when he unintentionally reveals himself, and Skipper and Julian's attempt to rescue him is thwarted. The rats mistake Mort for their rightful king due to a strawberry jam mark on his tail.
I mean the rat!
As the rats plan an invasion, the zoo animals repel them, and Skipper rewards Mort by making him an honorary penguin. Mort humorously embraces his newfound status by mimicking Skipper's catchphrase.
You didn't see anything. Dreamy day.
During Skipper's game night, Private panics during a game of hot potato, causing a bomb to destroy Leonard the koala's habitat. Gus orders its reconstruction, and Alice places Leonard in Joey's habitat temporarily. The penguins, feeling responsible, vow to protect Leonard from Joey.
Listen up, Joey. Boopy, we got some new...
Joey initially intimidates the penguins, but unexpectedly welcomes Leonard, thinking he's a female kangaroo. However, conflicts arise as Leonard's nocturnal habits disturb Joey's sleep. The situation escalates when Joey attacks Leonard. In a twist, Leonard shifts blame to the penguins, bonding with Joey over their shared dislike. The penguins escape to the sewers, and Skipper starts a new game of hot potato to celebrate.
Don't hurt me. It's not my fault. It's those penguins.
It's the breakout that led to a stakeout because there's a snakeout.
The penguins, informed of Savio's escape, mobilize to defend the zoo from the vengeful boa. Julian surprisingly talks tough.
I'm gonna hold up this Savio and smack him around like that. Yeah.
And partners with Skipper in setting up elaborate defenses, including a minefield and electrified fence. However, Julian's confusion between Savio and Fred,
You know, big teeth, long booty.
I'm my own kind of beautiful.
leads to the group's capture, leaving Julian to play his banjo while the others are caged. Savio plans to consume them systematically, but is thwarted when Julian accidentally spills butter flavoring, making Savio too slippery to execute his plan. The defeated Savio is returned to Hoboken, coated in butter, and the animals shift focus to Bert as he prepares to confront the serpent.
Go time! Come on, where's that slick? I want Savio!
Only to find the tricky devil right there in my own cottage garden.
Private's eccentric Uncle Nigel visits, surprising the penguins with his arrival. Nigel, seemingly empty-headed and obsessed with doilies, is initially off-putting to Skipper and Kowalski. However, he reveals himself as a top-secret penguin spy for MI6, on a mission to thwart the Red Squirrel's plan to destroy plant life.
Red Squirrel is real.
Nigel tasks Private with disarming the missile and, through luck and clumsiness, Private succeeds. Despite Nigel's efforts, the Red Squirrel escapes, leading to a narrow escape for the penguins from the squirrel's self-destructing lair. Nigel departs, with Private choosing to believe his uncle's spy story, leaving Skipper attempting to reveal the truth.
What about that? His Private actually is a...
Ooh, grateful for everything I've learned from you, Uncle Nigel.
Oh, yes. LOL indeed.
While amusing themselves with cat videos on Alice's computer, the penguins mistakenly receive a fax about a zoo worker named Maurice having only 24 hours to live. Believing it's their lemur friend Maurice, they inform the entire zoo, sparking an outpour of kindness and attention towards him.
Yo, we ain't pounding nobody.
We're just having fun with our good friend Maurice.
King Julian goes all out to pamper Maurice, who is bewildered by the sudden care. Meanwhile, the penguins embark on a mission to obtain a dendrobium orchid, thinking it could cure Maurice. After a night-long effort, they return to find Maurice peacefully sleeping. The revelation hits that the zoo worker, Maurice, not their lemur friend, is the one with limited time due to a disease on the island of Ofu Olosega. Julian, initially annoyed, chases Maurice down. Finally, Rico repurposes the orchid for his doll's prom night.
So it was all a misunderstanding.
The best kind of misunderstanding.
The penguins' sailing trip goes awry, leading them to the Hoboken Zoo. Surprisingly, Hoboken is portrayed as a paradise, with friendly animals
Even close, my former foe.
It's time for a taste.
and a caring zookeeper named Francis. However, Skipper remains skeptical and activates the Hoboken emergency holotooth to reveal the truth. The penguins discover that Francis has created biomechanical android doubles of the real animals, aiming to keep the zoo clean. A confrontation ensues between the real animals and their android counterparts.
Let's introduce this rising star. Ladies and gentlemen.
To expose Francis's deception, the penguins cause chaos during a press conference, leading to her firing and arrest. Despite the ordeal, the penguins find the adventure to be a perfect vacation. Skipper embarks on a solo mission in Shanghai, falling into the clutches of Hans and Dr. Blowhole. The diabolical dolphin uses a mind-jacker to wipe Skipper's memory and locate the penguins' HQ. Meanwhile, King Julian's antics with a malfunctioning MP3 player.
But what about this one? The battery that has failed me. I shall name him Baxter.
Lead to the accidental activation of Blowhole's diabologizer, creating a monstrous mechanical creature. As the creature spreads an energy field over the zoo, controlling minds and attacking off-key singers, Skipper washes up on Madagascar and encounters spirit guides, including Alex.
That's why I'm here. Come on, let's go. Let's do this. All right, baby steps, okay? You with me? What's my name?
The penguins, under Blowhole's control, face a musical crisis. With Alex's guidance, Skipper regains his memory and returns to Manhattan to thwart Blowhole's plans. Skipper and Alex eventually return to the zoo, and with a plan involving Julian's distraction,
Watch me shake my feet. Everybody get up and jump when the beat goes thump, thump, thump.
they thwart Blowhole's control over the mechanical monster, ultimately wiping Blowhole's memory and turning him into Flippy the Dolphin once more.
I think that was one heck of a smart choice. Up high.
Seriously? Wow!
Private is hurtling towards a hard impact, but Kowalski unveils a time-stopping stopwatch that allows him to move Private to safety just in time. The Penguins use the stopwatch for practical jokes, creating humorous situations by freezing time.
Move out!
When Julian wishes to time his chewing gum's flavor, he accidentally breaks the stopwatch, trapping him and Kowalski in a moment of frozen time. Initially frustrated, Kowalski makes the most of the eternity, engaging in buddy activities and inventing numerous creations with Julian. The mystery of Julian's misplaced gum inside the stopwatch is eventually revealed, allowing Kowalski to repair the device and undo the time freeze, leaving everyone else puzzled about the strange occurrences during the frozen moment.
Can someone tell me why I was in the bathroom holding this toilet paper?
Drop parcel.
Estimated touchdown?
In less time than it will take me to complete this setup.
The Penguins receive a mysterious box containing a communication device with a warning from Buck Rockgut.
Green button, green. And now he's turned it off.
About a sleeper agent among them, instigating chaos and suspicion within the team. Accidents and sabotage fuel their distrust, leading to internal strife and attempts to uncover the traitor. Kowalski traces Rockut's signal to a baseball stadium in Brooklyn, only to discover that Rockut himself is the sleeper agent working for the Red Squirrel. In a showdown, the Penguins cleverly confuse Rockut, allowing them to capture the real Red Squirrel.
Bet your applesauce. Just as soon as I bring down Penguin enemy number 2.
Well, looks like our old two-bit thieves have hit the high sea.
The Penguins encounter Hunter, a young leopard seal pup accidentally brought to New York by Antarctic poachers. Despite initial fear, Private befriends Hunter and convinces the others to help return her to Antarctica. The team, along with Julian, who sneaks into the torpedoes for some rest, follows Private and Hunter. In Antarctica, Hunter's father and other leopard seals initially consider eating the penguins, but Private's heroics save them. The misunderstanding is resolved when Julian advises Hunter, and she, Private, and Julian rescue the others from the hungry seals. Through Private's actions, Hunter's father learns that natural instincts aren't everything, fostering a newfound understanding between penguins and leopard seals.
You made me spill my lemonade.
Oh, Phil, have you seen my Victorian era wig?
The penguins of Madagascar face a crisis when Mason's Victorian-era wig and Alice's office items, including a mallet, go missing. The penguins, led by Skipper as a judge in Mason's wig, hold a court-martial against Kowalski, accused of causing the chaos. The trial revolves around Kowalski's creation, Jiggles, a whipped cream-eating creature. Flashbacks reveal Skipper's attempts to destroy Jiggles, leading to unintended consequences and a multiplying crisis. As the Jiggly invade,
Nothing scares me more than Little Green Kill!
the penguins devise a plan involving whipped cream and freezing temperatures to launch the creatures to Mars, inadvertently creating a new problem for the space squids.
Wait, I thought we ruled out leaving the planet.
We did, but we're not the ones leaving.
Julian.
Accidentally bounced out of the zoo and carried away by a bus, Julian finds himself in the home of a woman named Gladys, who mistakes him for a cat. Exploiting the situation, Julian encounters Zoe, a ferret who pretends to be a cat to enjoy the perks of domestic life.
Before this, I was living on the streets. I didn't know when my next meal was coming. Here, it's clockwork.
Despite Julian's attempts at affection, Zoe is annoyed and accidentally ejects herself out the window using a rigged scratching post. The penguins, along with Maurice and Mort, embark on a rescue mission. Julian, initially expressing a desire to stay, is convinced by Private to return to the zoo, fearing Mort's potential takeover as king.
King Mort. Great play, Private.
Thanks, and I was picked last.
Funny news. Behold, the birth certificate of a certain lemur king.
Clemson returns with a revelation that Julian cannot inherit the crown, as he was not born in Madagascar, casting doubt on his kingship. With secret plans to take over the throne himself, Clemson exploits ancient lemur laws, allowing Julian to earn kingship through competition. Distraught, Julian is unable to compete effectively, prompting Kowalski to use his mind-switching machine to swap Julian's mind with Rico's. Although the plan succeeds initially, Clemson catches on and creates challenges disadvantageous to the Penguins.
Winner, this guy!
During Clemson's coronation, Kowalski switches Julian's and Clemson's minds, leading to Julian, in Clemson's body, declaring himself king before the final switch back. Clemson, now in Julian's body, is chased out of the zoo, unaware that the minds have been switched.
We need your help on a 5-man operation.
Okay, 15 more minutes.
Distracted by a mishap, Alice accidentally bleaches Marlene's fur white while cleaning her pond. The penguins, especially Skipper and Julian, mistake Marlene for a rare Arctic mink named Arlene.
It is a rare breed. It's like myself. A match made in the heavens.
Due to her altered appearance. Despite Marlene's attempts to clarify, the confusion persists. Julian, infatuated, wishes to make Arlene his queen. When Skipper suspects Arlene of wrongdoing and chases her, Alice intervenes, restoring Marlene's fur color with hair dye. Later, Marlene questions why the penguins didn't recognize her, and Mort, with bleached fur, becomes the second victim of overchlorination. The penguins, unfazed, return to sunbathing, while Marlene smirks at the comedic mix-up.
Julian!
You are right. I surrender.
Really?
After defeating Hans, Skipper accidentally gets covered in inflatium, a chemical that makes individuals bloat like balloons when angered or excited. Concerned about Skipper's well-being, the penguins, along with Julian, attempt various methods to keep him relaxed and prevent him from popping due to inflation. Despite Kowalski's scientific experiments, Julian's misguided efforts, Private's singing, and Rico's explosive tea party, Skipper ends up floating away.
You're right. Maybe I should...
Oh!
When the penguins are captured by Hans, Skipper, now inflated, resiliently faces various weapons unharmed. However, Julian inadvertently deals the final blow to Hans, causing Skipper to burst, revealing it was just an outer latex layer. In the end, Julian accidentally spills inflation on himself, leading to comedic chaos in the city streets.
Ooh, it's a win-win. I'm back in action and spared the worst fate imaginable. All we gotta do is raid the food shed and grab some lizard chow.
Faced with the challenge of accessing the zoo's food shed protected by a thumbprint scanning lock, the penguins recruit Maurice to temporarily provide his thumbprint for hacking the system. Maurice, feeling valued and liberated from serving Julian, expresses his desire to stay with the penguins and join them in future missions.
It is kind of a little horrible, isn't it?
Yes, it is a little bit very horrible.
Together, they plan a raid on a weapons lab. As Maurice engages in various thumb-related activities with the penguins, Julian struggles to manage his kingdom without him. During the raid on the weapons lab, Julian and Mort sneak along, leading to an alarm-triggering incident. Maurice, using a remote-controlled tank, manages to save the day and decides to return home, balancing his roles between the penguins and Julian.
My left! Not the other!
I can do it! I can totally do it!
Kowalski invents furos, a fusion of churros and fish, touted as a perfect food. However, as the penguins consume furos, toxic waste disposal causes atmospheric disruptions, leading to climate and precipitation changes. When King Julian accuses them of upsetting the sky spirits, Kowalski discovers the penguins are responsible for the environmental chaos. Private is sent to space, finding a giant bubble emitting blue gas. Kowalski explains the impending danger, but Skipper refuses to intervene. Attempts to destroy the bubble backfire, supercharging it. Stranded in space, the penguins use Lemur gas attacks to refuel, escape the bubble, and return to Earth as they face the consequences of their culinary creation.
Hey, Mama! Not much I can do about him.
The penguins fake starvation to manipulate Commissioner McSlade into increasing their fish rations. As McSlade plans to secure funds during lunch with the mayor, his toupee flies off unnoticed. Alice discreetly tries to inform him, leading to comedic situations. The toupee ends up in the lemur habitat, mistaken for a creature by Julian. Maurice, with the toupee stuck to him, is chased by Julian and Mort. The pursuit leads to the baboon habitat, where the females mistake Maurice for a male. The penguins retrieve the toupee in time, placing it back on McSlade's head, averting a potential crisis, while Julian deals with jealousy over Maurice's newfound attention from the baboons.
No, we don't want you. We want him.
I don't want to leap to hasty conclusions, but it's possible I may have misread this map.
Shelley the ostrich becomes infatuated with Rico after he rescues her from drying cement. In an attempt to win Rico's affection, she creates a chewing gum sculpture and sings for him. However, she discovers that Rico is in love with a plastic doll named Miss Perky. To eliminate the competition, Shelley disposes of Miss Perky, but Rico remains focused on finding his missing doll. Shelley, feeling guilty, confesses to taking Miss Perky, and together with the penguins, they retrieve the doll from a recycling truck. Shelley then gets her own doll partner, leaving Rico bewildered.
Oh my gosh! I can't believe how handsome you look.
Wait, why do you assume I came to fight? Maybe I stopped by for idle chit-chat.
After a failed attempt by Hans to use a defective freeze ray on the penguins, Rico accidentally launches a missile that takes out a possum's tree home. The possum, named Ma, faints and is taken to the penguins' HQ. Upon waking up, Ma treats the penguins in a loving, motherly manner, causing initial concern for Skipper. As they hunt for Hans, they discover from Marlene that Ma has been playing possum to manipulate them. Skipper confronts Ma and sends her away, but Hans captures her. Despite being frozen by Hans, Ma plays possum on him and seizes his freeze ray to unfreeze the penguins. In the end, Ma decides to show Hans tough love by making him eat his peas.
Ah! Oh no! Even the miscreant like myself doesn't hurt sweet little marmalade.
Because when you leave the zoo, your savage, untamed nature takes control and you become scary.
Marlene is saddened by her inability to leave the zoo without going wild and missing her favorite Spanish guitar player's performance. Kowalski invents the persona disentangleizer to separate her savage impulses. However, the complete separation leaves Marlene excessively fearful. When her wild side, dubbed Littlefoot, takes physical form and terrorizes the city, the penguins must catch her to recombine Marlene. Meanwhile, Officer X aims to capture Littlefoot to regain his job. The penguins soothe Littlefoot with a guitar, leading to Officer X losing his job again. In the end, Skipper suggests the Littlefoot situation was a ruse to tell Marlene that she has control over her emotions.
Spooked you, didn't I?
The Amarillo Kid seeks the penguins' help, claiming he needs to win a golf rematch against the Gopher brothers to save his shell. Skipper, Kowalski, and Rico distrust him, but Private believes in his reformation. The Gophers arrive, revealing the Amarillo Kid's theft, and the penguins set out to find Private. Meanwhile, Private and the Amarillo Kid retrieve the Westchester Putter, a legendary golf club. Touched by Private's kindness, the Amarillo Kid confesses his plan and decides to return the putter, choosing to change. The Gophers trick everyone, stealing the putter, but the Amarillo Kid aids the penguins in reclaiming it. Grateful, he parts ways with Private, now genuinely reformed.
Time to greet the night!
After the penguins accidentally stink bomb Leonard's habitat, he joins them for an all-night ninja movie marathon. Initially unimpressed, Leonard becomes addicted to the action. When he sleepwalks into executing ninja moves on zoo animals, chaos ensues. After a sewer scuffle with the Rat King, the penguins try to cure Leonard's ninja impulses with 8 hours of the Lunicorns. However, when the Rat King seeks revenge, Leonard defeats him with unexpected love and hugs, resolving the conflict in an amusing turn of events.
Importante operation. Either you boys seen my calendar?
Nope.
During Skipper's team building week, the penguins compete to bring him a kipper for a day off. Kowalski, Private, and Rico race to the fish market, but Officer X, now a fishmonger, captures them. Realizing their failure to work as a team, they escape X's truck together. Back at the zoo, they present the kipper to Skipper, thinking they learned a teamwork lesson. However, Skipper clarifies he only wanted a kipper and was not trying to teach them anything.
Since when do we help the penguins with their combat exercises?
I just like to throw fruit at things.
Inadvertently discovering a hoard of acorns, Fred becomes the target of the red squirrel, who seeks the fortune for his own schemes. King Julian and his subjects attempt to teach Fred about the perks of wealth, unaware of the red squirrel's sinister plans. After Fred and Julian are kidnapped, Maurice and Mort seek help from the penguins for a rescue mission. In the villain's lair, Julian and Fred's antics frustrate the red squirrel, and multiple escape attempts lead to further traps. The penguins eventually break through the defense system, only to discover that giving away the acorns is the key to resolving the situation.
Drum roll, please. Hello? Madagascar!
When a new animal from Madagascar arrives at Central Park Zoo, King Julian organizes a welcoming party. However, the excitement turns to panic when they find out it's a baby fossa. Despite King Julian's insistence that the baby fossa is evil, everyone adores it. The baby fossa imprints on King Julian, calling him Dada, and showing affection through biting. King Julian tries to protect the baby when Savio, hired to eat the fossa, arrives. In a surprising twist, the baby bites Savio so fiercely that Savio retreats in fear. Despite the attachment, the baby fossa is transferred out, leaving King Julian with a final love bite. Skipper, Rico, and Kowalski eagerly plan to attend a monster truck rally featuring King Crush. However, Private stays behind to watch over Mama Duck's ducklings, including Eggy. Despite Private's attempts at wholesome activities, the ducklings express their desire for thrill-seeking adventures. Julian's party attracts hornets and sewer rats, prompting Private to lock down the HQ. The chaos unfolds as the team struggles to re-enter. In a desperate move, Skipper inadvertently destroys King Crush with a missile, leading to the cancellation of the rally. Private successfully manages the ducklings amidst the uproar, and when the others return, they gift him a souvenir. Despite the misadventure, Private's babysitting skills earn Mama Duck's gratitude. Skipper attempts to prove his leadership skills by undertaking the physical endurance leadership test, but faces continuous failures on the obstacle course. Meanwhile, Kowalski takes charge and initiates various missions, leading the team in Skipper's absence. Unaware that the challenges were orchestrated by the Blue Hen, Skipper quits the team. However, upon discovering the hen's scheme to freeze the zoo and make herself the sole attraction, Skipper confronts her, enduring her freeze ray attacks to ultimately defeat and freeze her. The penguins recover from hypothermia, while Skipper revels in his victory, sipping fish coffee atop the frozen antagonist. Now that is one badass way to assert dominance. The penguins go on a mission to save Peanut Butter Winkies as the factory faces closure. Private takes charge, but chaos ensues when Rico indulges in marshmallow meow meows, causing a sugar-fueled rampage. Kowalski ends up covered in sticky candy, and the team navigates a marshmallow river. When faced with a choice between rescuing his teammates or securing the Winkies, Private momentarily succumbs to temptation. However, he later realizes the importance of teamwork and apologizes to Skipper. The escapade concludes with Rico regurgitating Kowalski, who emerges traumatized. Despite the mishaps, the penguins learn valuable lessons about friendship and leadership, with Rico comically blaming his actions on bad meow meow. In the late hours, with Alice gone from the zoo, the penguins raid the closed restaurant for fish, but find only cheese Z-fish. Kowalski discovers a stirrer for an invention, while Private uncovers bananas. Skipper plans to gift them to the gorillas for future favors, but King Julian, lured by African plantains, decides to steal them. Marlene, initially hesitant, succumbs to temptation. The next day, Julian and Marlene, having eaten all the bananas, flee the zoo. Meanwhile, Kowalski's invention fails, and the gorillas go on a rampage. The penguins link the chaos to Julian, who escapes with Marlene in the penguin car, damaging it in the process, much to Rico's dismay. Skipper experiences a rare, perfect day, marked by extraordinary luck and success in every action. Upon finding his favorite crossbow, he inadvertently turns a tasteless mackerel into a delicious snack using Kowalski's rocket. Inspired by his perfect day, Skipper reveals his plan to infiltrate the Danish embassy to erase his mysterious criminal record and return to Denmark. A series of flashbacks sheds light on Skipper's past, encounter with Hans the Puffin, and his sandwich-related scandal in Denmark. The Penguins execute the elaborate plan, with Skipper successfully erasing his record, ensuring his perfect day continues. However, Private catches a glimpse of the file, revealing unreadable words and adding an element of mystery to Skipper's past. With the file destroyed, Skipper's name is officially erased from the Danish crime record, concluding the perfect day adventure for the Penguins. The Penguins, on a mission to dispose of a thermonuclear bomb, face chaos when Rico's impulse to buy Princess Miss Perky accessories redirects them to a toy store, triggering the bomb's premature explosion. Surviving the blast, Rico faces court-martial and is placed on marble jar probation by Skipper. The jar system, with sound effects and rewards for good behavior, challenges Rico to control his violent tendencies for a doll accessory reward. Rico tries to maintain good behavior, but has occasional slip-ups. A Princess Miss Perky commercial sparks his frenzy, leading to a chaotic rescue mission with the lemurs. Rico's berserk behavior fills the marble jar, allowing him to claim his doll accessories. Despite the destruction, the Penguins praise Rico's necessary violence, and the jar rule is leniently upheld on a technicality, granting Rico his doll. The Penguins, initially drawn to the news of anchovies off the coast, find themselves entangled in Chuck Charles's misadventures after he's replaced by Pete Peters. Chuck, now working with Alice, inadvertently exposes the Penguins' covert operations during a zoo tour. The team tries unsuccessfully to help Chuck regain his job, leading to the destruction of Kowalski's hard drive. Chuck discovers their secret data on a CD and plans to use it to reclaim his position. The Penguins race to the news station, setting up defenses against Chuck's advances. Despite attempts to thwart him, Chuck succeeds in airing the footage, only to have it dismissed as fake news, resulting in Pete Peters firing and Chuck Charles returning as the news anchor, even helping the Penguins finish an anchovy report. As fall arrives, Skipper and Marlene embark on a snack run, while Kowalski and Private opt to enjoy the changing leaves rather than watch football. Unexpectedly, a severe snowstorm, dubbed Snowmageddon, strikes, trapping Skipper and Marlene in a convenience store with the surprising revelation that the shelf stacker is Officer X. Meanwhile, Kowalski and Private find themselves stuck in a tree with Fred, leading to Kowalski's rapid descent into stir-craziness. The hope for rescue from Rico fades, as he is entirely engrossed in the football game. In their attempts to escape, Skipper and Marlene confront Shelf Stacker X, leading to a showdown that Kowalski and Private eventually join, resulting in their victory. Upon returning to the base, they discover Rico oblivious to the lack of snacks, still engrossed in the thrilling football game. Kowalski's encounter with a platypus named Parker leads to an unexpected mission involving Doris, Kowalski's dolphin crush. Parker discloses Doris's brother's captivity by Dr. Blowhole, prompting a cooperative effort to rescue him from Seaville, a water park. Upon reaching the park, they discover Doris's brother is none other than Dr. Blowhole himself, but with amnesia. Parker's true allegiance surfaces, aligning with Blowhole for payment. As tensions escalate, Blowhole regains his memories, unveiling his catastrophic plan, Project Bad Tidings. The Penguins, overcoming challenges, thwart Blowhole's scheme, trapping him in Doris's tank. Despite Parker's betrayal, they escape Blowhole's lair, leaving him and Parker adrift. Back in New York, Kowalski and Doris reconcile, ending with the anticipation of Blowhole's eventual return to villainy. Kowalski's enemy detector malfunctions, causing the Penguins to perceive friends as enemies. Skipper, mistakenly viewing his allies as threats, teams up with Hans, leading to chaos in the zoo. The Penguins, confined to a cage, work to fix the device. Julian tries to win Skipper's friendship, but when Hans returns, a fistfight ensues for Skipper's allegiance. Julian, desperate to escape, accidentally electrocutes Mort. Kowalski corrects the enemy detector, restoring the Penguins' perceptions. Skipper reconciles with Julian, resolving the zoo turmoil. However, Mort, still seeing Julian's feet as enemies, comically chases him with a mace, concluding the eventful adventure. In preparation for the annual zoo snooze, the animals discover the Vesuvius twins have bought all the tickets after causing mischief around the zoo. The animals, fueled by revenge, plan to teach the twins a lesson. However, Private suggests planting a seed of goodness in them. The penguins freeze the twins with Kowalski's ray and use them creatively to navigate challenges, like using them as a raft in the sewers and weapons against rats. After a chaotic journey, the twins, upon seeing files about themselves, decide to change their ways and start tormenting people instead of animals, ending the episode on a somewhat positive note. So that will be it from us. If you enjoyed the video, then leave us a like and subscribe to our channel for similar content. Thanks for watching. We'll see you at the next one.